thank you very much for joining this CATIA User Talk. Today, I'm very happy. Oh, sorry. So sorry, and thank you again for joining this CATIA User Talk. Today, I'm very happy to welcome Fabien Bouffaron, who is an expert in model-based systems engineering, MBSE, for systems architecture at Airbus, the famous aerospace company. Oops. Hello, Fabien.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have on stage Daniel Pyzak, who leads the team of process experts in mechanical industry for CATIA at Dassault Systèmes. Hi, Daniel.
Hello, Anne. Hello, Fabien. Hello, the audience. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and to chat with you. Always a pleasure.
Yes, as you said, Daniel, always, and many of you may already know Daniel since he presented numerous CATIA Jebel talks first and then user talks. I'll show you at the end of this talk how you can still watch them in the CATIA user community. But first, well, Airbus is a very large group, so I'm curious to know more about your mission, Fabien, and also maybe about some challenges facing Airbus. So I pass the floor to Daniel, who has prepared some questions for you.
They are not tricky questions, okay? So, of course, I will not ask you to present Airbus. I hope the audience know what Airbus is doing. But to start with, can you just present yourself, your background, where are you coming from, and what is your role inside Airbus?
Okay, so hello everyone. So my name is Fabien Bouffaron. I have a PhD in system engineering and model-based system engineering. So I did this PhD in University of Lorraine in Nancy, so working mainly on a co-simulation aspect, integration of multidisciplinary model with a system engineering model. Then I joined Airbus Defense and Space as a ground segment engineer. So during 5 years, I developed an MBSE framework for definition of ground segment, and I contribute to the deployment of this framework on several projects as a trainer, coach, and also an expert. And since 3 years, I joined Airbus Group in the DDMS project. So DDMS is for Digital Design, Manufacturing and Services. And it is the big project in Airbus for the digital transformation of our enterprise. So in this project, I act as an epic owner and product owner for the development of an MBSE framework to support the definition of system architecture. I have been also nominated since 6 months now as an MBSE expert in Airbus for system architecture. So that's why I am involved in several talks like today to present our activities. Also, another nomination, I will say that is linked. It's my nomination as a CATIA Champion. So since 1 month now. And also last topic on which I am involved, it's on the UCOTS community, so user community of Dassault Systèmes, where I am leading the System Engineering Commission today.
Oof, that's a really, really impressive journey. Congrats. So you're really an MBSE expert. To be honest, I'm more a mechanical designer, but I really like system engineering. I learned some system engineering a long time ago, but I still keep in mind some basic principles. But let's say, but from your point of view, when I'm developing a complex product, not talking about aircraft, even less big project, what are the main benefits of using a system engineering approach, and especially CATIA Magic for the development of products?
Okay, so I have prepared some slides to introduce the topic and to support the discussion. So perfect. So first, if we focus on system engineering, I will say the main benefit of system engineering today, at least when we have introduced SE in Airbus, was really to bridge the gap between the definition of the need and the delivery of a solution. So it's really important for us to have a structured approach where we go step by step, starting from the definition of stakeholder needs to the definition of the solution. Every decision that you are taken when you are defining an aircraft should be justified in order to satisfy constraints, regulation constraints, and certification constraints we have. So system engineering will really facilitate, I will say, the definition of our system, going step by step, starting from the elicitation of the need, a definition of functional architecture, logical, then physical, and so on. If we are speaking now about model-based system engineering, so model-based system engineering is just the fact to apply a model to support system engineering activities. So today, what does it mean concretely? I will say system engineering focus much more on the process and the method, how to apply the system engineering processes, whereas model-based system engineering will more focus on the language and the tool. So you need a language to represent your architecture. So for example, CSML language, and a tool such as Cameo, CATIA Magic tool, to support the modeling of your model. So it's first, it's how CATIA Magic is involved in this scope of system engineering is really the tool that will support our activities in terms of system engineering.
Okay. At least it's crystal clear for me. Huh? I am a CATIA lover, but I'm not objective. But let me ask you the question: what do you like in CATIA Magic?
So I will just maybe finish on this point because it will help me to introduce your next question.
Okay.
Also to focus on the added value of MBSE. First, what is really important with MBSE today, at least in Airbus, what we call MBSE, we will focus on definition model. So how to structure all of data in order to be able to perform easily to launch some analysis. So we make a clear distinction between definition model and analysis model. We don't want to merge everything. So through MBSE, I think most of you already know that, it will really improve the collaboration between the different stakeholders that are involved. It will also help us to improve the maturity of the definition of our architecture, because we will have some capabilities to perform consistency check and so on. One features that come with CATIA Magic. We will have also a single source of truth with end-to-end traceability also between all the different viewpoints, the concepts that we need to define our system. And it's important to have this end-to-end traceability. For example, when we have a change, we can easily perform an impact analysis, understand where we will have the impact. And last part, but not the least, also we have to consider that MBSE, the fact that we will digitalize our engineering data, is a key enabler to support the digital continuity. So if we have to make the link with transversal disciplines, safety, for example, or detailed design, electrical, mechanical, and so on. So with MBSE, you will have this capability to perform this digital continuity. An important other aspect, I will say, it's another vision on how today MBSE is applied on Airbus. When we are defining a system, we are looking on several facets of the system. Is the definition of the aerostructure, the system architecture, and so on. And today, all this architecture were defined in an isolated way. With MBSE now, we have the capability to integrate all this architecture together to define what we call co-architecture. And we will not only focus on the definition of the product, but also the industrial systems that are put in place in order to realize this system and the services. And today with MBSE, we are able to do that. It was really difficult before to have this full vision. So it's what we target today with MBSE. Okay. When we are dealing with MBSE inside Airbus, we have to understand that MBSE is not just only what we will do inside Cameo or CATIA Magic tool. We have several transversal disciplines that need to be considered. The first is the system engineering processes that will describe how we will interact, which type of deliverable we have to produce. On top of that, we will consider also data models that will explain the different concepts that we need to handle in order to fill this deliverable. And it's key, it's an important point to have this data model. So today it's in Airbus, we have one data model called SECAM for System Engineering Core Architecture Model. It's really important to have this because it's help every stakeholder to have the same language and make sure that you are dealing with the same concept. So and I will say this is really the foundation for Airbus to develop our framework. Now, when we deal with MBSE, we have to consider the requirement, traceability requirement, the product line engineering, the link with the 3D model, geometry, and the definition of system architecture. So why CATIA Magic? Today with CATIA Magic, what is important, considering the fact that system engineering and system architecture is not done in an isolated way, is the fact that today CATIA Magic is more and more integrated in the 3DX platform, and it offers us several capabilities in terms of digital continuity to detail design and so on. We will beneficiate also features like configuration management, people and organization, and so on. So it's really the fact that Cameo is integrated inside the 3DX platform that will help us to put in place our full MBSE framework. Some other aspect from CATIA Magic, why we decide to use this tool. First is really a dedicated tool for system engineering and model-based system engineering based on several standards. So SysML, which is a de facto language for system engineering. Also, there is a lot of other features that will help us to exploit the model. We can easily navigate in the model, perform some model execution to check the consistency and so on. So it's really interesting. Another aspect that I will detail a little bit after is really the fact that we can customize the tool. So when we are doing our processes, we want to have a tool which is customized, considering Airbus processes, way of working. So it's with Cameo, we can really go we can really customize the tool. And I will say a last part, much more considering my hat as an expert, is really the fact that I can easily interact with the R&D of CATIA Magic. We can together mature on the definition of new features, and it's something really we really appreciate in order to make sure that you are going on the same direction regarding the tool. So it's today all the aspect why we decide to use CATIA Magic today in Airbus.
It's good to hear that we have a very good interaction with our R&D. I'm quite impressed, to be honest, because it looks like a very, very ambitious project, complex things, but probably it brings a lot of benefits to your company. I am curious to know, what are the main challenges that you are facing when you deploy such a tool?
Alors, so today when we have, I will say we have several challenges. So if we are really focusing on the tool aspect, because there are also other aspects regarding training, skill, and so on, what we have is really to have a tool that is working well. So in terms of, we need to have a tool that will consider the scalability. So we have more and more user projects that will use it. So in terms of performances, in terms of IT, we need really to have a dedicated server to support the load behind that. Another aspect in terms of challenges, today when we are working in military project, we have to deal with all the issue in terms of security, data tagging, classification, and so on, or also export control. So we need to make sure that the tool we are deploying will support our capability to be compliant with export control rules or security rules. I will say another aspect on which today we have a lot of challenge. Even if we have a good tool today, we have to consider that our end user will not use necessarily the tool on their daily job. Sometimes we will have some user that will use the tool only to launch an analysis, to navigate in the model, but they are not system expert. So we need really to improve the usability also of the tool for non-system expert, so that they are able also to interact with the model, author also the model in an easy way. And it's really something that a lot of users in Airbus are requesting. Another aspect also that we have to consider regarding the tools, but we have a lot of evolution of the tool, new releases that are delivered and so on. And we need still to ensure the compatibility of our own development on top of the tool. So it's something that we need to consider. There is a load associated with that. And it's something that should be anticipated when we are working. And last part, but I know that you are already working on it. As I have explained before, if we want to really have the full benefit of MBSE, is not just to have a tool in an isolated way. We need really to have this tool integrated with all the other tools. So today, to have really a smooth integration, I will say, of Cameo, CATIA Magic with the 3DX platform. And also another aspect on which we have really to pay attention is really the usability. The number of clicks I will have to do, number of tools I will have to use will be a challenge to have the adoption for the end user at the end.
I'm sure we'll be successful to provide you exactly what you asked for. You know, I'm very, very keen at UI, because when you use a tool for 8 hours a day, you need a very smooth, easy to use, comprehensive tool. So I understand that. When I look at this topic and look at what Airbus is doing, I heard a lot of time something mysterious for me. It's like an acronym called MOFLT. Can you tell us what it stands for?
Yes. So I have also prepared some slide on that. So MOFLT is really the system engineering approach we have defined in Airbus to support system engineering and model-based system engineering. So why MOFLT is an acronym for M, mission, O, operation, functional, logical, and technical. So it's several viewpoints of our system that we will consider when we are defining a system. So just keep in mind that the framework that we are developing in Airbus should satisfy the development of our product, industrial systems, services, and in each entities, aircraft, for satellite, for helicopter, and so on. So we have a big framework that need to be adjusted. So all the viewpoints that I describe here are not mandatory for each system. We have to perform an adjustment when we deploy it. So when we are working on the mission, we will really focus on how my system interact with the other system in order to achieve the mission. I will say we are much more at system of system level. It's also to make the transition with the work we can do with UAF, for example. Then at operational level, we will focus on one system of interest, and we will start to describe the operational scenarios on how we will use the system, but the system is always seen as a black box. When we are clear on the operational scenario, what we want to achieve, we can start to define the functional architecture. So we will describe how, what are the functions that we need to put in place to perform in order to execute the task we have described at operational level. We have then the logical architecture. I will say it's a transition viewpoint before the physical architecture that will allow us to perform, to have a reference architecture to perform trade-off at physical layer. So in the logical component, we will group the different functions together, allocate this function to logical component, and at technical layer, we will see how these components are implemented through technologies. We have also several viewpoints in parallel that are transversal. The requirement, so we need the requirement traceability, and also everything regarding the parameter but when we will have to perform analysis, most of the time, we will pick the value of the different parameters we will have put on each layer to describe our top level objective or also characterize the different elements in MOFLT. So I have put here some really I picked some illustration because I will not have time to present the full framework, just to show you that you have performed some customization in the tool to support our framework. So why we have this different viewpoint, it corresponds to the system engineering processes we have defined in Airbus. All the concepts we have we will handle will correspond to the concept we have defined in our data model. So on top of that, we have customized the tool to support the definition. So we have a color code to easily navigate in the different view. We can use a state machine, activity diagram, block diagram, internal block diagram, and so on to support the definition of our different viewpoint when we are defining our system. And we have also some relation map to be able to navigate in the end-to-end traceability between each viewpoint. So starting from the mission to the definition of our technical architecture, we are able to have a full traceability for that. Oops. So I have prepared also, maybe to make it more concrete, a small video to show you but the customization we did in the tool. I will not show you how to use the MOFLT method and so on. We can have another talk for that. But really how we use the tool and how we customize it to support what we want to do in terms of system engineering in Airbus. So there are several parts. I will not detail, I will detail directly in the video. So okay, perfect. Alors, yes, I can stop. So when we will start a project in Cameo, so we have a dedicated plugin, so-called Airbus MBSE plugin, which involves the MOFLT plugin, but also other sub-plugin. So you have the capability to create directly an Airbus MOFLT project. When you will create this project, automatically it will load also several perspectives that will allow to filter some elements in the menu interfaces in order to have, I will say, simplified interface for our end users that are not experts in Cameo. Another things we have developed. So when you will start your project and you have linked to several materials, it's important. It's not just a tool, what you have to understand with MOFLT. It's a tool, so the plugin, but also method, training, handbook, example. And if you want to succeed in the deployment of MBSE, you have ready to think not only on the tool aspect, but also all this other aspect. So we put also some hyperlinks for our end user to easily navigate to all the documentation. So in terms of first automation, when you will start your project, you need to initialize your project structure. So for that, we have deployed, we have created a small enabler wizard to do that. So you will define at which level you want to create your project. And automatically, you will have already some packages that are initialized that follow each step of our method. In each package, you will find either already some pre-configured diagram or pre-configured table in order to easily edit your model, alter your model. So what we will see in the mission package. So I will not detail each package, but we will see just how we can create elements. So we have created, we have our own profile. So each element we use are not SysML elements, is because we don't want to do SysML model. We want to do an aircraft model based on the concept that you are using in Airbus. So we have our profile. We put some restriction in order to easily create the element in the good package and so on. We have also defined in the tool, so as I explained, we have already some pre-configured table so that people can easily edit the model without define their own table and so on. So it's quite powerful when they want to edit easily the model. Sometimes with a table is more easy than using a diagram. So we try to select the best solution. Also in terms of customization, which part on which we work is also customization of the diagram to have always an interface which is really simplified. So we will see we have the capability to create diagram, and we have customized diagram, so MOFLT diagram. So for example, a functional architecture diagram where we have filtered the element we have to use. And on top of that, we have also some automation that we have defined, or validation rule that will correct automatically our model if you are not satisfying the rule we have defined in the MOFLT method. So for example, if the stereotypes are not the good one, we have active validation rule that put automatically the stereotype on the good element so that we are compliant with the rule we have defined. So it's just to give you an overview of what we have done in terms of customization for the tool. We have also a lot of other functionalities, features we have developed to perform export in other format, also generate documentation and so on that are embedded in this plugin.
Thank you very much, Fabien, for the demo. Thanks a lot. It's quite impressive because it's not an easy subject. And you know, at Dassault Systèmes, what is the most important are people. And I guess at Airbus, it's probably the same. I'm wondering, do you need designers, engineers with special profiles or special skills to be able to use, even if you simplify the UI? But do you have special requests for the profile of the people who will use such a tool?
Yes, so in order that you are able to deploy the MBSE in Airbus, we have defined several roles that are required to support the deployment. I will, we have a lot of roles, but I will focus on the three main for MBSE. I will say we have a first role to call the MBSE manager. So the MBSE manager will be in charge to take the full framework and adjust this framework considering the engineering objective they want to tackle in a program, in a project. And it is also here to support end user and engineer in their daily job to apply the framework. Then I will say we have a binôme today. So we will have system engineer, system architect. It is really the one that have the knowledge about the product that you have to develop. And today they are accompanied. They are accompanied with an MBSE modeler. So someone we have the skill today to perform, to define the model in Cameo tool and Systèmes. What you have to understand today, it's the reality, because we don't have people that are skilled on aircraft, on SE, on MBSE. We don't have these people with all this knowledge. So that's why we have this organization. In the future, what we want is really that all our system engineers, system architects use the tool in their daily job without another people to do the model for them. So it's just, I will say, transition phase, time that everybody is skilled and so on. And at the end, all the engineers should use MBSE tool in their daily job. So what they did previously with PowerPoint, Visio, and so on, they will have to use Cameo when they will have to define their architecture. Is really what we target, but we know it will not be so easy. We have a transition phase to consider.
Okay, wow. It's like, you know, at Dassault Systèmes, all employees of Dassault Systèmes, we are using the platform every day. So it's good because we can make some bug report and also improvement requests to our R&D. No, I understand that it's very, very ambitious, but I think it's a big project. So you will have to hire new guys because you have people retiring, of course. So what about the workforce of the future? Do you think today, everywhere in the world where you have to hire newcomers, do you think we have those guys are coming from the university have the right skills to ramp up much more quickly to adopt such a tool?
So I will say the situation is evolving. 10 years ago, when we deal about SE and MBSE, we have already a few universities working on this topic and so on. And now we can see that we have more and more universities, engineering school, that are proposing SE and MBSE path on their training. Nevertheless, I will say we have now more and more newcomers that are aware about SE and MBSE. They know what it is, but they don't have enough practice to really understand all the challenge behind. What could be good maybe also sometimes for us is to, as industrial, is to propose also to the university concrete use case where we have faced some issue really in terms of modeling, so that they are able to understand and not just play, I will say, on simple use case, but work also on a concrete use case with complexity, so that they are able to deal with the real question of MBSE. Another aspect also that you have to understand, most of the time in university, they have the opportunity to do some model on a simple use cases and so on, but they don't have necessarily have in mind everything before we do the model. We are not just doing model for model. We do model because we have to tackle engineering objective. So will be also important to maybe a little bit more explain to our newcomers, new engineer, the process. What does it mean deployed MBSE? How we will adjust? How we will focus on the engineering objective, so that they are able to understand all the constraints we have dealing. So when we are working in industrial environment, we have to deal with security aspect, configuration management. We will work in an extended enterprise with provider and so on. So in terms of modeling, maybe we will not organize our model with one model. It's just to consider all these constraints. And it's important that new engineers are aware about that. It's not so easy. It's just we don't have one big model with everybody. We have several models that are interconnected, and it's something that you have to consider. Last part, but not the least, me as working in Airbus, if I want to have someone from a university that is ready to work, it's not just someone that knows system engineering in a theory or system in theory. I need also to have for me engineers that are already aware about system engineering processes defined in Airbus, also the method that you are defining. And for that, we are working more and more with universities to put in place some partnership, collaboration, so that they are able to use our tool, our method and handbook in order they are able to teach to their new, to the new engineer directly our method. So in this sense, it will be more easy for us when they will come. They will already know a little bit our framework.
Okay, it's clear. Again, it's ambitious. You already mentioned that if we had something to improve in CATIA Magic, it's probably the usability, and I'm sure we'll do that. But I know that you have you are the president of the commission of MBSE at UCODES. For the audience, I just refresh you what is UCODES. UCODES is a user community of Dassault Systèmes. It's a user group association for the French-speaking CATIA users in general and Dassault Systèmes user in Europe. Can you tell us how you can use UCODES to let's say raise those improvements to Dassault Systèmes?
Alors, I have also one slide that we can present. So I re-put just the link towards the community, but to be sure. So inside the UCODES, there are several commissions, and we have one commission dealing on system engineering. So really focusing on Cameo, CATIA Magic, but also the system engineering part, RFL in 3DX. So in this commission, we plan to launch several workshop activities, but the first activities we have launched is to put around the table all the companies so that they are able to exchange their needs, their enhancement requests regarding Cameo or CATIA Magic. So we have already launched, we have already 2 workshops where we start to present our or requests for evolution. So the idea is really to converge between all the companies, select where we have common needs, so that you are able after to exchange directly with the R&D of Dassault Systèmes, CATIA Magic, but to see what is feasible, what could be the roadmap to implement our different evolution. And if you are interested also to join this community, don't hesitate to contact me. You can also contact Marcel Gerber, so that you have the access to this community and you can see already what have been done. And we will be really happy to involve you in the community. And we plan also to launch other workshop, for example, exploration of the power buy, so integration of Cameo with CATIA Magic. There is also proposition around Systèmes V2. So we need now contributor to make alive this community.
So guys and ladies which are in the audience, please, if you are interested, join UCODES. First of all, I would like really to thank you, Fabien. For me, at least, it was crystal clear. It's not easy, huh? It's not an easy topic, but you made it very perfectly well understandable, at least by me. Thanks a lot. And I think I will give, and thanks to the audience, but I will give the mic to Anne to conclude this CATIA User Talks, and number 4.
Yes, thank you, Daniel, and thank you, of course, Fabien. Yes, you gave a new representation, at least for me, regarding MBSE. It was really interesting. We have a question from the audience. Not sure it raises a short answer, but I read it for you. Fabien, how do you create a link from the MBSE model or a part of the MBSE model to the physical or technical definition of the aircraft for traceability of configuration changes? So this is a question from Tom.
So today, first, we work at process level to describe which type of data we want to do, which type of deliverable. And after, we have also the data model that clarify which type of concept. So in our MOFLT approach or technical component, how they will be linked, for example, with the physical component and so on. So it's important to have this theory before starting to implement everything. Concretely, how it's worked today in the platform, we have the FL-XML import plugin that have been developed by Dassault Systèmes that allow us to retrieve our SysML model in the FL-XML, in the RFLP data model, so that we are able to perform the link with the 3D geometrical model. And we have also the TRA application that allow us to define the different traceability links between the element in the SysML model, so our technical component, and their representation in the physical world. So with the TRA application, but also the FL-XML when we want to perform the traceability, the digital continuity, and after all the application on top of on 3DX, we are able to manage the traceability. After, in terms of configuration management, I will say there are some features that are existing in the platform, but what is really important on top of these features is really to have a strong process, define how you will configure in configuration your Cameo model, your 3D model, how you will ensure the global configuration. So today it's mainly based on the processes we have defined on top of the platform to support this aspect.
Okay, thank you very much for this response, Fabien. And thank you for this question, by the way. And for the audience, maybe you may have other questions. So you can still continue this conversation with Fabien and Daniel in the CATIA user community. So this is what you can use to join this community. It's another community compared to the UCODES community, but on the same platform. So if you enter go.3ds.com/CATIA, or if you flash this QR code, you will normally join this CATIA user community. You just have to create a DS passport and log in. It's very quick. And I show you just this in a second. This is where you can comment and ask questions for speakers. And I won't have time to show you, but there is a wiki where you can watch all the replay of previous CATIA user talks or CATIA GWAL talks. So thanks again, everyone, and thank you especially Fabien and Daniel. Thank you all for attending. Feel free to comment. Let's share so that we learn more about your expectation from Dassault Systèmes on this subject in the future. And goodbye for now.
So thanks a lot, Fabien. It was very, very interesting. Thanks, Anne, and thanks for sure to the audience. Have a nice end of day, beginning of day, night, whatever, weekend. So bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.